Hello everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to another video, and today we are here for another winter weather breakdown. Now today we're going to be talking about the next winter storm that's going to be sweeping across the country here, affecting places like Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho all the way back through New England, okay? So let's go ahead and get right into it, starting off with what the NAM 3KM model is showing for this storm here. We'll start off with the northwestern United States, where right now it's pretty calm, alright? But we do have some heavy bands of snow starting to form in places like Wyoming and Montana, which isn't uncommon for this time of year, but you'll start to see more of those pop into places like Utah and Colorado, and then they'll even start to enter places like South Dakota, okay, with some heavy snowfall, alright? So we take it over to the north central United States. By tomorrow morning, I mean, we're looking at some pretty heavy snowfall here over a decent portion of South Dakota. This will continue to move eastward and start to span over more of the state even, alright, and even places like northern Nebraska might see a little bit of snow out of this. Starts to move into Minnesota, alright, and you know, this isn't really a major problem. It's just going to be some heavy snowfall for a while. We do start to see some rain and maybe even some storms pop out of this thing here on the southern side here in Iowa, but do not worry, this will not create any severe weather threat. This will likely just be a few rumbles of thunder, if that even. We may even see some thunder snow here, as we can see by tomorrow night at 11 p.m. This is a very complex system here, alright? We're seeing lightning and heavy snowfall that is possibly falling in the same area, okay? So this will continue to move off to the east here, and this snow gets incredibly heavy if it enters southern Wisconsin like this model is projecting. But the thing is, the real kicker here is that this is right along the rain-snow line here. So if this area is even 1 to 2 degrees warmer than what's projected right now by the NAM 3KM model, this will just be some rain and thunderstorms. But if it is 1 to 2 degrees cooler, this is going to be some extremely heavy snowfall here in southern Wisconsin, alright? And then again, some storms maybe even sweeping across southern Wisconsin, and even northern Illinois could see some action from this, alright? But this system will continue to head off to the east, stay just as intense as it enters Michigan, with maybe even some bands of ice in southern Michigan. We'll have to keep an eye out on that, as we could see some freezing rain accumulation, alright? But then this system kind of does take a southeastern dive here, alright? Detroit, it's going to be a very interesting area. Heavy snowfall, heavy ice, or just heavy rain could happen, okay? So we're going to want to keep an eye out on that. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards more of the snow, but we'll keep an eye out on that. Like I said, take it over to the northeastern United States. This system continues here, and by Thursday at 11 a.m., you know, maybe people are starting to take their lunch break or something, this snow starts to re-enter the United States from Canada, starts to move into places like New York, okay? Even northern Pennsylvania might get a little bit of snow out of this, alright? And then it becomes much larger, a much wider system with heavy snowfall pretty much across all of northern New England here, okay? So this is definitely going to be a complex system. So let's take a look at the total snowfall for this event. Okay, this is actually total projected snowfall over the next 72 hours, so these numbers might be inflated a little bit. Obviously, the Northwest, if you're in the mountains, it's going to be much heavier. Alright, you're going to see feet of snow possibly in some areas, alright, but that's not that surprising for the peak mountaintops. This is also, like I said, not just including this snowstorm, because the Northwest, this system's going to be done within like a good 36 hours, so we'll actually just take it to 36 hours, and yeah, you can see how much of a difference that made here. This system's likely going to drop upwards of 8 or 9 inches of snow at its peak here in the northwestern United States, but surface level, I mean, really, it's not going to be that intense here in the Northwest. Maybe a few inches on surface level here in areas like Montana or Wyoming, maybe even Idaho and Oregon, but overall, not that intense for you guys, okay? So we switch this over to another region here, the north central United States, alright? We're going to take it out to about 60 hours now. We can see that this is going to dump a good possibly 5 inches of snow in some areas of South Dakota, alright, because this is kind of where that band of snow really starts to strengthen here, right? And pretty much across the entirety of the state, we're looking at least a dusting of snowfall here. Maybe if you're in extreme northern South Dakota, not, but most likely you're going to be seeing about a few inches of snow here if you're here in central South Dakota. Southern South Dakota could be looking at about an inch, and northern South Dakota is going to be about a dusting, okay? So we move this over another region again here. We take this over over to the Midwestern United States. We'll go out, we'll stay at the 60-hour mark here, and we see that this model is thinking probably more on the rainy side a little bit here, as it's really only projecting areas in southern Wisconsin to get a few inches of snow here, if even that, alright? So they're thinking all that extremely heavy snowfall we were looking at mostly stays as rain for this event, okay? Now, it's worth mentioning that snow's going to be moving extremely quickly as well, so that heavy snowfall, even if it does happen, isn't going to accumulate a ton, but the ECMWF model is predicting half a foot of snow for extreme southeastern Wisconsin in an isolated area, but for the rest of southern Wisconsin, few inches at best, okay? So not that much in Wisconsin, and then maybe some snowfall here in eastern Iowa, just a couple inches possibly, and then northern Illinois, they were pretty nice too, I think, a little bit nicer than the NAM 3KM model here, and they're predicting maybe a quarter of foot of snow for some areas in Illinois, alright? So we take it over to areas like Michigan. Again, even the highest amount in Michigan is only predicted to be about half a foot here, but one thing to note is that the entire state's getting in on at least a dusting of accumulation here in Michigan, according to this model, and a good few inches everywhere at that, alright? And again, some areas, some isolated spots may reach 5 to 6 inches of snowfall in Michigan, so that would be pretty significant, alright, if that does happen. So we're going to take a region move one final time here over to the northeastern United States, alright? And we take a look here, we can see that this model is predicting the heaviest snowfall out of this entire event to fall in areas like Massachusetts, like the Cape Cod area. I pushed it out to 72 hours just to really finish off this storm here, alright? So they're thinking some areas in Cape Cod even could get upwards of a foot of snow, mainly 10 to 11 inches for Cape Cod, maybe even about closer to half a foot there if you're in northern Cape Cod, but a lot of snow here once you leave the United States here, alright? Long Island, about 7 or 8 inches of snow predicted, maybe if you're lucky, maybe about half a foot if you're in western Long Island. You get into actually New York City, it's going to be about half a foot, but again, it's not going to accumulate very well because it's going to be right along that freezing line. So don't expect this to accumulate for too long. This is just how much snowfall you could see in total, alright? Areas in New Jersey could reach half a foot if you're lucky. And then once you get like to northern New England here, like upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine even, we could be looking at a few inches of snow in your area if you're lucky, okay? So that's going to be it for today. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. This is definitely a longer, more in-depth video than I usually do, but I enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.